And he shall be live on, and he shall be a good man. Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome in. I'm still singing Elton John from Tori's show. Gosh, love that song. Welcome in. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. I am Matt Wattson in this. Well, this is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. Our show Eye on the Valley is brought to you by SCVi and iLEADSchools, a network of charter schools with campuses in Castaic, Agua Dulce, Lancaster. We've got a fully accredited online school. That's right. K through 12, actually TK, your transitional kindergartner can attend an online school. Yes, she can, I promise. You can check it out at iLEADSchools.org, and each one of our websites, each one of our schools has their own website, and you can check it out. I know what you're thinking. Matt, that just doesn't, I don't know about that. Well, I tell you what, if you don't know about that, check it out at iLEADSchools.org. You can catch the link to each one of our 6 different unique schools, providing everything in personalized learning for your children. So yeah, again, that's iLEADSchools.org. We keep our eye on education completely right here in Santa Clarita and across the nation, but also, like the show says, we keep our eye on the Valley as well, bringing you everything that you need to know about what's what right here in beautiful SoCal. What a gorgeous weekend it's going to be. And, we try to giggle, we try to laugh, we try to have a little bit of fun on the show. So you're going to enjoy it. Pour that extra cup of coffee. You deserve it. It's Friday. We're sliding into an amazing weekend. So why don't you just relax and enjoy a couple hours here with us on Eye on the Valley. We've got a great show for you today, and I want to get right into it. In just a moment, you're going to meet my colleagues, Allison Bravo and Angie Nastowska. They are both part of a team that is building the newest high school in town, iLEAD Agua Dulce. And so we'll talk to them in just a minute. In hour number 2, we've got filmmaker Griffin Locke. We had Griffin on when his last movie was released a couple years back. It debuted when the Laemmle Theater was pretty much brand new. It was one of the first films to debut at Laemmle Theater, and Griffin was just 17 years old and debuting his feature-length film down there at Laemmle. Well, now he is a ripe 19 years old, and he's back with not one, but 2 movies, and I love talking with Griffin. He is just so dynamic. He's got so much energy, brilliant young man with just such an amazing future. So you're going to love him, too. So can't wait. And you know what? I think Griffin's a trivia guy. So we'll see if Griffin can stick around and play with my stupid brother, because, Big T, he's got trivia, he's got fun facts, he's got all kinds of fun stuff. So he's going to be joining us at the end of the show. We'll get Griffin to stick around, and we'll see how Griffin does against Engineer Andrew and I when Big T calls in. So it's going to be a great show. You're going to have lots of fun. Like I said, just settle in. Let's start priming that weekend, and let's do this, shall we? My first guests this morning are 2 of the most... I say this, and the 2 of them are so humble, but they are 2 of the most brilliant minds in innovative education that I've met in my 3 decades in the field. Dr. Angie Nastowska has experience teaching and doing educational research at every level of education, from preschool to the elementary grades, middle to high school. She's partnered with some of those on the forefront of education and educational research and development around the world. She's an expert in project-based learning and play-based learning. And her partner, Allison Bravo, is a passionate educational leader with a heart for what she knows schools could be. Allison is a high school expert who pioneered the online learning space years ago. She helped found and shape our school, iLEAD Online, as a leader in the space before she then went on to found Empower Generations, iLEAD's Center for Pregnant and Parenting Teens. They both now work on iLEAD's learning support team, guiding all 6 of our schools to develop rigorous and exciting educational experiences across Southern California. Allison, Angie, welcome to Eye on the Valley.
Thank you so much.
So good to have both of you. Now, ladies, your own experience and journeys, we could fill 2 shows just chatting about all the different amazing things that the 2 of you have done in education. But you're not here to talk about your own careers, amazing as they are. You're here to talk this morning about the high school at iLEAD Agua Dulce. So now, before we get into the high school, though, I do want to give people a little bit of a taste for what the 2 of you do on a daily basis. So, Allison, why don't we start with you? What is it that the two of you do, or what is it that you do that's been so instrumental in the growth of our schools here in Agua Dulce in particular?
Absolutely. Thanks, Matt. And I'm so happy to work alongside my colleague, Angie. Like you said, I work on the learning support team, and I support our iLEAD network of schools with the continuous cycle of improvement, which means I help them use data and feedback from their educational partners to set goals and make sure their programs and funding are aligned to meet those goals. I help support educational technology, and I support all things college career readiness and high school.
Fantastic. So a lot of compliance stuff. You make sure that their program is tight and rigorous. Angie, you support iLEAD Agua Dulce in a similar way, but in a little bit different vein. Can you tell our listeners what you do for the school?
Sure, that's really super complimentary with Allison. I'm on the boots on ground curriculum, everything that falls under the umbrella of curriculum instruction assessment. So making sure the real magic of teaching, learning, projects, internships, externships actually happens and it's implemented. So my direct contact is with facilitators and directors on a daily basis. So the coaching, the training, modeling, rolling up the sleeves, going in and doing it with them, and specifically for iLEAD Agua Dulce is the build out of the high school, their passion projects, and supporting new teachers with their credentials.
All right, so let's get into the school. So super excited that the two of you are on the team and there to support all of our schools, really. But let's get into iLEAD Agua Dulce, because not all of our listeners realize that we've got a school in Agua Dulce, but not everybody realizes how close Agua Dulce is. I was talking to a friend the other day who lives right here in downtown Newhall and said, if I took my kids to your school, I would definitely have to head up the road here to SCVi because Agua Dulce is so far away. And I was like, no. It's Agua Dulce is actually closer to your place than even the one here in Castaic is. So, Allison, can you start maybe telling us a little bit about the history of iLEAD Agua Dulce? What about the school and where did they come from?
Yeah, absolutely. So iLEAD Agua Dulce opened in 2018 with grades TK through 5. And what I love about the history of this school is it was the community, right? The parents, the students, the community members, local businesses approaching iLEAD because they liked the model and they thought it was a good fit for their community and they really wanted a charter school in that building. And they asked iLEAD to partner with them in opening a project-based, social-emotional-based school. And so that's what iLEAD and iLEAD Agua Dulce's board did together. Now it's TK through 10. It's fully WASC accredited, which is the gold standard of accreditation here in California. And it is truly a community-based school. The community involvement has not wavered. It's only gotten stronger. And so through that community involvement and partnership, the school is project-based, meaning that kiddos get to solve real-world problems using rigorous academic learning. It's social-emotional based, meaning we're helping to raise whole, good humans who know themselves and know their place in the world. And my favorite is play-based. So we're using evidence-based strategies of human and child development to make sure, again, we're developing the whole child and not just the academic standards. And then it's highly personalized. So each child gets their own unique individual learning plan, and the staff on hand helps them to meet those learning plan goals each and every year.
That sounds great. And, gosh, it is really so much fun. Angie, you mentioned that you spend a lot of time on campus. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about kind of the charm of campus? Because iLEAD Agua Dulce is, well, to say the least, it is very different from your typical school, isn't it?
Sure. So from the side of an educator, what parents usually want to hear is the rigor. Where is the rigor, and are you following standards, and how is that done? I want to frame my lens and my conversation as a parent that it is there. We always start with the standards, but we implement them not only in the most rigorous, but in the most authentic way. So education is delivered through inter- and cross-disciplinary projects across grade levels, between grade levels, within one grade level. And the most important thing is that there's a lot of learner voice and choice, but it's a sense of how are we going to execute the plan that we have. So facilitators, which are our teachers, act as the guides. That's what we call them, facilitators. They hold workshops or the content comes through them, but then everything else is on the learners, how they implement it, what they do with it. And the real magic is if you walk into the campus, you will be able to notice a lot of projects that have been completed by the learners themselves, either by a small group and small initiatives. And one great example is for the second grade project, how do we create the optimal habitat for the animals that we already have as pets in our classrooms, because we need a space to grow. They started out with rabbits and hamsters, and they just wanted to get chickens, and they really wanted to get into the life cycle of chickens and to have their own eggs and to have their own little chicks to chase around the campus. So naturally, the facilitator was looking at the standards that are upcoming, and it was all about area and perimeter and thinking about language, informational text, and how do we research. So a lot of facilitators got together and figure out, instead of just teaching about the standards, how about we target the standards and we let the learners design something. So they designed their own habitat, which is an entire chicken coop. There's a home for the pigs now. There's a full home for all the other animals that they rescue and they save. So really the kids can take ownership into demonstrating that bloom taxonomy or depth of knowledge level 3 and 4, which is not just knowing what you know and how do you know, but show me. And that moves into the analysis and synthesis. And I just want to really quick shout out there next Friday, May 5th, we have Play Day. iLEADSchools will be part of the International Play Association, and they host every year something called Play Day. It would be wonderful if you're available, if you can bring your kids to just get a taste of the magic that's happening and how learning is happening through play and through project-based learning. Facilitators and learners will have centers that either provoke, initiate, or implement play. It's going to be a full day, I think. We can post it on the website, but I think it starts at 10 a.m. and it goes all the way to noon. So,
and Angie, is that something that anybody can attend, even families that don't currently attend our school?
Absolutely. Everyone can attend. It's open to the community. Everyone can come because the learners that actually attend the school will be lending booths, and they will be the runners of the plays and games and centers and booths and everything. So, yes, please, whoever is out there, there's no age limit, literally, TK or younger, all the way through 12th grade. There's outdoor spaces, outdoor classroom. Another amazing thing is that TK through 12, we really foster, Lisa, the director, is a huge proponent of mud kitchens, outdoor classrooms, taking learning outside. So what you were able to testify is learners exploring weather patterns outside, learners reading and researching in trees, kids doing science, real science in mud and through play, and just keeping in science observational journal while they're doing it. And facilitators are there to ask those inquiry questions, probing questions. How about that? Did you notice that? What happens when you? So leaving it more open-ended so learners can come to the understanding, and of course learning is more authentic. And the last thing that I'm going to say is the community partnerships are excellent. Right now, Lisa is working on creating and solidifying those community partnerships for learners being able to actually open and launch their own businesses, but that would have never happened if we didn't have strong community. So the community ties make the projects and the learning and the play very authentic, where we don't even have to think about mentors and sponsors and guides, but parents and community members just volunteer and ask what we can do and how can we do it.
That sounds so fun. So that's next Friday, May 5th at 10 a.m. at iLEAD Agua Dulce. Check out iLEAD Agua Dulce on social media. They're pretty prolific on social media. and you can attend that play day. But Allison, let's talk about the high school a little bit. I know the high school is a relatively new development for the school. Can you tell our listeners a little bit more about the high school at iLEAD Agua Dulce?
Absolutely. So I don't say this flippantly. This iLEAD Agua Dulce has been intentionally designed to be the school of the future. It's the kind of model that all of our major world leaders are putting their own children into. And here's a little bit about why I love it so much. So firstly, it's small. So that means that our young adults, our leaders of the future, are getting highly personalized, highly customized curriculum and support. The staff-to-learner ratio is incredibly low, which again means that everything's personalized and no child is left to be struggling, and no child is left bored, right? So everybody gets a just right experience. There's a high expectation that all of the young adults who go through that program are going to graduate college career ready. And Allison, what does college career ready mean? It means that they're incredibly rigorous classes that have been designed around the United Nations Sustainability Development Goals. So there's that real-world connection and preparation to solve tough world problems. And then also the career-ready standards of practice. So again, just making sure that in each project, in each class, in each learning experience, our young adults are getting the opportunity to hone and master these skills that they need to be successful in the world. There's an international baccalaureate career program pathway that students will go through, learners will go through, and I think Angie will talk about that a little bit later, so I won't elaborate. There's an expectation that all of our learners participate in extracurriculars embedded into the learning experience so that parents don't have to go out and find and curate those extracurriculars. They're built into the school day. So, for example, our 10th graders this year went to Mock United Nations. There's work-based learning and internship, and not just, work at Taco Bell and have a resume, but really relevant industry-related work-based learning and internship opportunities, as well as opportunities to get industry-recognized certificates. And there's also service learning. So again, if we're looking at building an application for a college, an Ivy League or a UC or a small liberal arts college, all of these things are things that learners are going to need to demonstrate, and that's built into the program. There's also an expectation that learners will take and receive college credit courses through one of our local community colleges. And then there's daily advisory, so skill set and mindset development of those college career-ready practices. This program is hybrid, so it's flexible, which again, we're seeing as the evidence-based design of high schools for the future. And then just to emphasize again, it's highly individualized. Each learner is going to go in with their own passions, aptitudes, skill sets, and goals, and the program is going to meet the needs to fit everybody. So we're not just turning out a bunch of Ivy League or UC or community college or direct entry to career type of students. We're taking all learners and being able to walk with them to meet their own goals.
Yeah, and meet their needs for the future. That's awesome. There's so much going on at iLEAD Agua Dulce's high school, and Allison, you referred to the International Baccalaureate. I know we've got career and technical pathways. We want to talk about all that stuff. We do need to take a quick break. Allison Bravo and Angie Nastowska joined me this morning. They are just part of the team helping to build the high school at iLEAD Agua Dulce here on the east side of the valley. When we get back, like I said, more about some of those rigorous and exciting programs helping prepare kids for whatever their future may have. I'm Matt Wattson. You're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. It suddenly smells like coffee in the studio. I love it. I love it. Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Wattson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. I'm joined this morning by Angie Nastowska and Allison Bravo. They are part of the learning support team that is helping to build the high school right here on the east side of town, iLEAD Agua Dulce. You didn't realize there was a brand new high school in town, did you? Yep. just up the road here, iLEAD Agua Dulce has, they're building their high school. They've got 9th grade and 10th grade, building into 11th next year, and 12th grade beyond, obviously. So before we took a break, Angie, we talked a little bit about the International Baccalaureate. Can you just share a little bit about that program with our listeners who might not be as familiar with what we call the IB, International Baccalaureate program is? What is IB, Angie?
IB is an international program that started off after the Second World War was ending, and politicians from all around the world were gathered together, and they had one very important agenda item. What are we going to do with our kids while we're trying to figure out how we're going to rebuild the world? So believe it or not, those are the beginnings of the International Baccalaureate program. It was created to specifically target kids from different cultures, speaking different languages, trying to inquire, to become inquirers, to become knowledgeable, critical thinkers, collaborators, and so on and so on. So the International Baccalaureate actually houses a continuum of programs, which is primary years program, which is the PYP, middle years program, the MYP, and then for high school we have two options. One is a diploma program, which is almost like a standard high school program with a lot of course options that mimics typically a high school program that you would normally know and be aware of. It's just taking it a notch further with the international global lens, the inquiry, and so on. But for iLEAD Agua Dulce, what's very special is we're not only getting the International Baccalaureate, but we are getting the career-related program, for which the abbreviation is CP. So someone would ask what's special about the CP. Well, the career-related program is actually the most authentic out of all the programs that are international and that IB offers, because as you hear by the name, it asks you as a school to pick and choose a career focus. So for iLEAD Agua Dulce, since the E in iLEAD stands for entrepreneurship, we decided to focus on business and entrepreneurship with the drum roll, the idea that every learner will graduate with a business startup. So their capstone in their senior year is to actually launch their own business, and then beyond that, it would be up to them if they want to nurture it, grow it, continue it, or it would be one of those things that I just want to start a profession, a career, or a business to see if it's for me, and if it's not, great, I learned it's not for me. So what the IB does is the IB, the International Baccalaureate team, actually accredits the school with a world-recognized certified diploma. So when the kids graduate from iLEAD Agua Dulce High School, they will not only graduate with all the U.S. and California recognized career technical education and all UC A through G approved courses, but they're going to also graduate with the IB career-related program certificate, which opens doors to a lot. In a nutshell, the greatest thing about the IB career program is that IB as an institution gives us a framework, and how we implement it, what we do with it, they expect it to be within the context of the school. So as a rural, agricultural, but super tacky, technologically advanced school, we have decided to go down the business route because the core of the program that the learners need to complete are 4 pieces which are called reflexive projects, language development, service learning, and personal and professional skills. And all these elements, they just have a basic framework, and we cater it to the learners, to what they want to do. For an example, personal and professional skills will be a full UCA through G accredited course that allows the learners to deep dive into who they are, unlock their potentials, explore their interests, their passions, and really develop those lifelong and profession or beyond school skills, so that when they leave iLEAD Agua Dulce, they really have options. It wouldn't be just a work field or just going to college or university, but okay, I'm fully aware of myself. I have the skill set to really pick and choose whatever I want, and I have the systems in place to just dive into realizing my vision.
That is beautiful, and it dovetails into something that, Allison, I know you're kind of an expert on. So you're helping develop what Angie referenced, the CTE pathways, the career and technical education pathways. That kind of dovetails perfectly into the IB career program that's being developed at iLEAD Agua Dulce. So what are those pathways, the career and technical ed pathways that you're helping develop at iLEAD Agua Dulce?
It's a great question, Matt. So first, I just want to say that sometimes when we think career and technical education, the first thing that comes up in our mind is like that old school regional occupational program, ROP, vocational education, right?
I am old school,
the thing of the past, right? California CTE has done a fantastic job of really updating what career and technical education in high school and even middle school does for children and for our youth in that it prepares holistically a future workforce, and it prepares folks to go out with the mindset and skill set to be successful in a variety of different industries. So I just want to start with that, right? This CTE is for all kids. It's for kids who are going direct entry into a career. It's for kids who are going to vocational school, for community college kids, and for our 4-year and beyond college kids. This is beneficial to all children because what it's doing is it's giving purpose to high school, right? It gives purpose, it gives passion, and it gives the opportunity to really develop those things. So at iLEAD Agua Dulce, the primary CTE pathway is entrepreneurship in the area of marketing, sales, and service. And what this does for our iLEAD Agua Dulce high school program is it gives this global focus and this purpose-driven skill set for youth to infuse their passion, right? So entrepreneurship with a focus on agriculture or animal science or art or STEM or whatever it is that children and youth are focused on, and wherever it is that they want to go, they can use entrepreneurship to apply those skills. Everybody needs entrepreneurial skills in this new workforce, right? Especially this post-pandemic kind of gig economy, social entrepreneurship economy workforce. So entrepreneurship fills a local labor market need. We know that in the Valley, in North LA, that there is a big workforce gap in entrepreneurship, business, marketing, sales, and service. There are more jobs than we have skilled individuals to fill those jobs. So Agua Dulce is fulfilling a community need, and entrepreneurship, again, as I said, has so many transferable skills. So our students at iLEAD Agua Dulce will do a 3-year pathway that gets progressively more in-depth and experientially focused as they go. And as Angie said, by the time they're in their senior year and doing a capstone, they're either launching their own business or working with a local business, right, to help meet a need in that local business. So lots of hands-on learning, lots of work-based learning, lots of campus learning. It's a TK through 12 campus, so our high school students are launching entrepreneurial projects throughout the campus, even starting in 9th grade.
It really does sound like a perfect match for everything that's going on the campus there. And like you said, preparing kids for whatever path that they individually choose to take through high school into college and career. That is fantastic. Now, Angie, you talked just a minute ago about the need to develop the personal and professional skills that our kids need to learn to succeed. And you're also helping with something that our sophomores have coming up that's really helping do that, right? Develop their personal and professional skills. Can you talk to me about the personal project that you're working on with the 10th graders at iLEAD Agua Dulce?
Sure. So we started off first in 9th grade, but then we decided just because of the benefits of the project itself, the structures and the systems that are put in place, that it would be beneficial to do it every year, and then eventually in year 4, as seniors, it will culminate with the capstone project. So it's a longitudinal, year-long project, what someone would consider almost like a master thesis. But this is a hands-on involved project that helps the kids self-manage, self-plan, work with the community, extend to mentors, seek partnerships, seek help, and so on. So it starts off in 9th grade as a small scale, just one semester, and then in 10th grade, it's a full year. It launches at the end of August, beginning of September, with figuring out what our interests are as learners, what is that one thing that you have always wanted to try, to build, to do, to explore, that you can use this 1 year project for. And then with the help of an advisor, I'm the personal or passion project coordinator, I come in and I just do little check-ins, little workshops and boot camps that first is help do personal and professional inventory. Then the next step is launching their journal, because they have to journal throughout the whole year. Mm-hmm. Next is getting into workshops on research, in person, online, and at a library. So through different modalities and milestones in place, the kids eventually develop a full project that looks like launching their own clothing line, opening their own business, getting animals ready for, which I learned is one of the hardest things ever, raising and getting your animals ready for a fair, to show them off. There's so many criteria and conditions that I've learned. I learned so much by mentoring and leading the kids through this project. And then the culmination is this time of the year, end of April or end of May, the learners sit in front of a panel of assessors that they have never seen before. Usually it's parents from other schools, people within the iLEAD network, or community members that wanted to participate. And it's almost like Personal Jesus Defense. They showcase their project, they talk about it, and they get assessed on what they have done. But the varieties of the projects are really beautiful, because it's really learner-driven, learner-centered, and what we help them is just get over the milestones, find the mentor. Or in 9th grade is really just knowing the skills that you need in order to reach out to a mentor. How do I write an email? How do I pick up the phone and call? What do I say? How do I say it? The language and the code switching between professional and when I'm in need, and how do you pose a need, and how do you pose different opportunities. So when we hear back from the learners, because what I've started doing recently is trying to record under 1 minute short reflection videos on their projects, is really they just talk about their growth. Even if their goal is not accomplished, we emphasize the process, and they just keep going about how much they have changed and how much they have learned, and how much their vision has changed of what they have done and what they want to do.
I love that process, Angie, and we've seen it. It's obviously the first year that we're doing it at iLEAD Agua Dulce. It's been happening at SCVi for years, this process where kids who are 15, 16 years old explore what they're passionate about, develop an in-depth year-long project through finding a mentor and developing, like you said, all those personal and professional skills as they explore something that's important to them, and then are ultimately assessed by a panel of professionals, a panel of adults at the end of the process. So, Allison, there's so much going on at iLEAD Agua Dulce as you and Angie and the rest of the team help build their high school. How does this, we talk about the International Baccalaureate, Career and Technical Ed, play-based learning, project-based learning, the personal project, all these different things. How do they all come together when it comes to preparing our students at iLEAD Agua Dulce for the future?
Yeah, I'm just reflecting on our conversation this morning, and it sounds like a lot, but it's all very intentionally curated and structured so that everything flows together, especially right when our learners start off as little TK. They're building all these skills so that by the time they get to high school, they can do it. For our learners coming in 9th or 10th grade, that's great too, still intentionally curated. It really starts at the beginning of each year with that individual learning plan. Everything is then curated and done and culminates in their showcase of learning at the end of the year, their portfolio, and it all just kind of stacks together and tells a story of learning, which is really cool to do. what it looks like on the day-to-day basis is a modern workforce campus, right? Think like a Google campus. It's dynamic, it's effective, it's focused. Every individual on the campus, the students and the staff, are focused on this outcome of college career readiness and the ideal process to get there.
And, you know, Allison, you touched on something that I really appreciate about iLEAD Agua Dulce, and that's, you know, it is such a beautiful campus, and we talked about how we've got kind of that rural feel and how kids are free to play. There's just so much space, and I love that a family can enroll their child at 4.5 years old in TK and take them all the way through graduation in high school on the same campus, right there with the alpacas and the piggies and all the rigorous, amazing STEM-based or entrepreneurial or tech-based projects that they're working on to develop whatever passions that they have as they move forward. How amazing would it be? I've talked to a few of our kids at some of our other schools that have done just that. Kindergarten through 12th grade on one campus, and what an amazing opportunity. Allison, Angie, I want to thank you so much for joining us this morning. There's so many different exciting things happening at iLEAD Agua Dulce. I want to make sure that our listeners know how they can enroll. You might be thinking, you know, this might sound like the perfect thing for my little or my teenager. So yeah, head on over to iLEADaguadulce.org. You can get information about the campus. You can sign up for a tour because, you know, you might not be ready to commit. Take a tour. You're going to love the campus. Even if you don't go there, go hang out at iLEAD Agua Dulce. You know what? Maybe stop by their play day. May 5th, 10 a.m. You don't have to be enrolled. Just drop on by iLEAD Agua Dulce, May 5th, 10 a.m. for a play day. Bring your kids. Let them play. They'll have a great time. You can check it out. You can talk with Lisa Latimer, our school leader, or you can peruse a lot about our school again on their website, iLEADaguadulce.org. And if you're ready to commit, if you're ready to put a ring on our school, just smash that Enroll Now button and you can get your kids enrolled. Again, TK all the way through high school for next school year. One more time, that's iLEADaguadulce.org. Allison, Angie, thanks so much for joining us. You two have an amazing day and a wonderful weekend, all right?
Thank you so much.
Ladies, you take care. I am Matt Wattson. You're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. We'll be right back on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Wattson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. Happy holidays, y'all. No, this is not a rerun. I love the holidays, and what I love most about the holidays is that every day is a holiday, major or minor, a day-long or a month-long observance. I love them all. So let's take a look and see what we're celebrating today. There's lots of cause for celebration. Today is Friday, April 28th, and today we are celebrating to start National Bravehearts Day. You know, each year on April 28th, we celebrate National Bravehearts Day to honor the bravery of families dealing with pediatric cancer. During this time, pay tribute and support the families and friends of those involved in the child's life. National Bravehearts Day. Love to all of you kids and families out there that are fighting the fight. Today is also Workers' Memorial Day. That's right, not Labor Day, not Memorial Day. It is Workers' Memorial Day. Each year on April 28th, we also commemorate Workers' Memorial Day, which encourages national and international remembrance and action for workers killed, disabled, injured, or made unwell by their work. Also known as International Workers' Memorial Day or International Commemoration Day for dead or injured, or a day of mourning. The slogan for the day is Remember the Dead, Fight for the Living. So make sure that you've got an ergonomic chair. Make sure that you're wearing your safety goggles. Make sure that you're being safe. Whew. We started celebrating the holidays with a couple of heavy ones. Yeah, important, touching, but heavy. But don't worry. Today is also, it's, cat lovers, you've all been there. That erroneous sound that your cat makes when that hairball is on the rise. Today is National Hairball Awareness Day because you need an entire day to commemorate, to remember, to recognize, to can we have a moment of silence, please? National Hairball Awareness Day. Don't be caught unaware. The last Friday in April is always National Hairball Awareness Day. It brings attention to the problem that many cat lovers face. So don't pour one out for the homies, but cough one up for the homies today. It is National Hairball Awareness Day. Today is also National Arbor Day. That's right. We always celebrate this time right around, middle of springtime. I think Earth Day was just last week. And, well, we've got the Home and Garden Show going on at Central Park this week. This weekend, all weekend long. Does it start today?
All weekend long. The vendors were, packing them in today just to be ready for tomorrow.
All right.
And they'll be there all weekend at Central Park tomorrow. Be there early at, I believe it's 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock on Sunday. They're all day. Come on down. There's going to be over 250 vendors. It's going to be a great time.
Lots of vendors, so if you're looking to spruce up the house or, pick up a little something, it's an amazing event. Like Andrew said, over 200 vendors, and there's tons of activities for the kids. They got the butterfly
tent. It's pretty cool.
You step into a huge net and get attacked by a million butterflies or something like that.
Attacked, you get to be surrounded.
Yeah. Butterflies don't really attack very much, but it's an amazing event. Your kids are going to love it. I think the fire truck's going to be out there. It's an amazing day to go and just can get completely lost in the springtime because it coincides with National Arbor Day. Trees afford us many pleasures. In the spring, their buds let us know that warmer weather is on the way. Their summer leaves provide ample shade on that hot day. And have you ever joyfully jumped into a pile of crisp, colorful leaves in the fall? And wintertime, the trees remind us that they provide shelter for wildlife and viewing pleasure. But each year in April, National Arbor Day encourages us to celebrate and plant maybe a new tree or two. The observance takes place every year on the last Friday in April, perfectly timed to coincide with KHTS's Home and Garden Show at Central Park all weekend long, so do enjoy it. Today is also National Historic Marker Day. I always love me a National Historic Marker. My kids always used to get annoyed. We'd go on road trips, and I'd see a historic marker, and I would always, stop. Dad, what are we doing? Well, check it out. There's this historical marker. Something cool happened at this place a long time ago. Historic markers all across the nation provide a glimpse into the past and preserve history for future generations. The last Friday in April each year is National Historic Marker Day. It invites volunteers and communities to come together to maintain their markers. If only we had a marker to commemorate Historical Marker Day. Today is also National Great Poetry Reading Day. So crack out your Longfellow and read a poem. Is national. Actually, it's the end of National Poetry Month, and now today is National Great Poetry Reading Day. So pick your favorite poem, read your poem, read it silently, read it aloud, and while you do, enjoy a nice slice of pie, because today is National Blueberry Pie National Blueberry Pie Day. Always reminds me of that scene in Stand By Me. You remember the blueberry pie scene? So gross. But today is National Blueberry Pie Day. It is so delicious. April 28th every year. Enjoy some blueberry pie. Today is also National Superhero Day. Have you ever been rescued from a risky situation or saved from injury or death? Those who come to our aid are called heroes. Some heroes happen to be in the right place at the right time. Others choose to be a hero by the career that they choose, though they might not call themselves heroes. Others still are fictional creations who wear capes and fly around and do all these amazing things. Each year on April 28th is National Superhero Day, honoring superheroes, both the ones in the comic books and in real life. And with that, I'm going to throw it to my superhero, Engineer Andrew, whose superpower is bringing you amazing news and updates and commercial messages. I am Matt Wattson, and you're listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley, right here on your hometown station, KHTS. I do have anxiety about getting a checkup, Dr. Green. Thank you for recognizing. But hey, that's what the gas is for. Crank it up! Welcome back. You are listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is Matt Wattson, your host, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. We're coming to you live from the center of Main Street right here in beautiful downtown Newhall, and I am super psyched about my next guest. We've had him on a couple of times before, and it is always a great conversation because he's always doing great things. My next guest is veteran filmmaker Griffin Locke. Griffin has been producing great films since 2008. He won Best Director and was nominated for Best Picture at the IFS Film Festival for his third film, The Adventure of TP Man and Flusher. His last film, A Spark in Nothing, premiered right here in downtown Newhall at the Laemmle Theater when it was brand new, and now he's on the verge of releasing his fourth and fifth films. Oh, by the way, did I mention he's still a teenager? Yeah, he is. Griffin Locke, welcome back to the show.
Hello. Yes, man. It's been a while, but I'm happy to be back.
It has been a while. You know, we were just sliding out of the pandemic, which I think slowed down production of A Spark in Nothing. But you got it out. It was an amazing premiere at Laemmle Theater. Almost a couple of years ago. And you've been.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, it really has been. It feels like it was yesterday, but then you look back and go, "Wow, shoot, that's almost been 2 years." That's it's insane.
Yeah, and you haven't been unbusy. I know you're in school, and I was talking to your agent yesterday, and you've had a lot going on professionally in filmmaking and in other veins. We'll get to all that stuff, but let's start here because, like I said, you're 19 years old. You're about to release your fourth and fifth films. You've been doing this about half your life already. So where did your passion for filmmaking come from?
Well, Matt, it's something that I feel has always just been destined to me. Filmmaking has just been that thing that has always been there. I can't remember a time to where I haven't wanted to tell my stories through the narrative of film. It's something that's always inspired me. My mom was a production designer. My dad is, a television editor. And so them just working in the business way longer before, I was even in this world. And then coming into the world in a house that, was decorated with movie posters on the walls and, memorabilia spread out about the house of just film and inspiration of that. It's just something that I feel that's always been in my blood. I've just always known filmmaking's my path.
Yeah, and you and I were talking before the show started just now about some of the things that you did as projects for school and different things you have going on. But when I say that you're a teenage filmmaker, you're not making these campy little films. You're releasing films that are getting play on Netflix, here in local theaters, things like that. So before we get into these new projects you've got coming out, talk to us a little bit about your previous three films. Let's kind of just hit titles because I know they're all available on Netflix and other platforms. Tell us about the titles and what your films were about.
Well, thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say. And so for a lot more in-depth information too than we'll get into on the show here about my past films, please visit griffinlocke.com. Locke is spelled L-O-C-H, like the Loch Ness Monster, and Griffin is spelled G-R-I-F-F-I-N. Again, that's griffinlocke.com. And on there we have a bunch of exclusive pictures, interviews, and where you can actually see these films. But my first film that I made when I was 13, I wrote, a big portion of it when I was 12. Mm-hmm. Still, at iLEAD. That was Calling the Shots. And then my second was The Adventure of TP Man and Flusher. My third was A Spark in Nothing. And now my most recent film that is not out yet, but it is in post-production. So it's getting close. Is The Undistilled.
Yeah, I was watching the trailer just the other day. It kind of scared me a little bit. I'm not one for scary movies. We'll talk about The Undistilled in. I'm not. We'll talk about The Undistilled in just a little bit. But I think one of those previous films, or maybe it was more than just one, but I know of one in particular that received. I mentioned in your intro, received a few awards. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah. I've been very fortunate like you mentioned earlier, it's always trying to release a film of professional value, real production value, if you will. In each film we get the opportunity to take that up just a little bit, if it's from, the camera department to lighting to the actual, production value of it, to the actors. We're always advancing a little bit. And with that, I've been very fortunate to get a lot of incredible awards and recognition for my filmmaking. But I would say the top 3 awards that really hold close to my heart is I think you mentioned it earlier too. Yes, the IFS Award for Best Director for The Adventure of T.P. Man and Fletcher in 2019. That was incredible, astounding. That was my first big film festival, my first big award. And I think we were up against The House That Jack Built, which is a Matt Dillon film. And I Best Director there. That was astounding. And then also my Maker Learning Network Award for Leadership in the Arts. That's from 2021, my graduating year.
Yeah.
And then my Roundtable Global Youth Awards in 2019 for educational change. And those just mean a lot to me because those really stand for what I tried to do, especially with my on-set experience within my films, is, I'm young and I know I get the opportunity to create these films, but I try to extend that to a lot of fellow learners so they get the opportunity to come on set and, experience what it's like to actually work on a real film set very early on and learn from, professionals that I get to bring on to our films. And so those awards just really mean a lot to me because they really represent what we're trying to do with these films.
Yeah, and speaking of awards, is this right? I understand that you received an award from a college you never attended. How does that work, Griffin?
Well, yeah. So this is an interesting story. So I go to college. I take a lot of online courses up here in Humboldt County. So, yeah, we're currently in Humboldt County. It's an hour. Our house is kind of the scary cabin in the woods, if you will. And it's basically an hour to the nearest town. So I take a lot of online courses. But my girlfriend, Annabelle, she lives and goes to college down in Santa Cruz. And so I went to go visit her, and she had a film she was working on, a little student film. It's a Western movie that she was editing. And I went down there to visit her because it was the big film festival, and I was going to go see it with her. And, it meant a lot to her first, film away from my movies. And so we went down, and they were having issues with their color. And so I said, well, I'll come in. I'll see what I can do. I've done a lot of color work. Mm-hmm. And so I came in, and they said, we hate the color of this wood. It's just disgusting. Our color guy doesn't know how to change it. And so I said, well, if you select the wood color, you can desaturate it. And so I spent a max of 20 minutes there desaturating some orange wood. And so then the next day the festival comes along. We watch the movie. It looks beautiful up on the screen. I'm so proud of Annabelle. It's really astounding. Everyone loves the movie. And then anyway, they're like, now we're opening it up to crowd voting. All of you can vote on these films that we saw here today. And so we open up the link, and everyone's voting on their phones, and Annabelle's roommate brings it to my attention. Griffin, we can vote for you on here. I'm like, what are you talking about? And they go, yeah, they have you here under color. Let's just call the main colorist Joe. They say Joe is the main colorist, but it's Joe and Griffin Locke, best color. And I go, well, that's absurd. I never did color. I spent 20 minutes in there. And so I say, don't vote for that. Anywho, all the awards go, and Annabelle doesn't get Best Editor. And so I'm like, I'm so sorry. That's really horrible. But imagine if I got Best Color. We joked about it too much because in the very next thing, they say, and Best Color goes to Joe and Griffin Locke. And the whole audience, I'm talking like almost 500 people of an auditorium packed, just start cheering. And I look to the director and I go, I'm not going up there. This isn't my movie. And he says, you better get up there right now. You go. And so I stand up and I go and I take the stage alone because come to find out Joe wasn't even actually there.
Oh, jeez.
So here I am standing on the Santa Cruz, stage by myself, to a sea of students I've never met in my life. And no one else is supposed to talk. You're supposed to take the stage, get your picture, get back in your chair, move it along. But I say, I got to explain what's going on here. So I take the mic
No
I
way.
take the mic and everyone's freaking out, and I go, I don't even go to school here. And the whole audience erupts in laughter. I explain basically the fact,
Sure.
that everyone here is winners tonight, no matter what award. And so anyway, I got my picture taken with a big shrug on my face. I don't know what I'm doing here. And that was the night I won an award for a film I spent 20 minutes on at a college I don't even go to.
At a college you don't even go to, and I love the moxie that where no one's making speeches, you're making an acceptance speech. And accepting on the behalf of me is me.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. All right, Griffin, so you're about to release your fourth film, The Undistilled. And
Yeah.
like I said, you sent me the trailer, and I'm not a horror movie film buff. It made me a little nervous, but the trailer was really, really well done. Can you tell us about the movie?
Yes. So, it's just, like you said, this movie is completely different from anything I've ever done before.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with my body of work, a lot of my films really deal within the more kind of comedy/drama romance
Right.
genre, to where this is a complete 180 on that, to where this film really dwells within the suspense thriller genre. There's even an extreme supernatural element to it. And so it was really, an advance on myself as a filmmaker. I need to, give myself a new practice within, but while also taking everything that I've learned from the past films and incorporating it, but giving myself a new challenge, So essentially, The Undistilled is a supernatural thriller set in present-day Humboldt County, and this film really tells the tale of a secluded distiller haunted by his past and forced to face the present day. His name's Clyde Morris, and, he fights against these unknown forces that bind him to his land. He also is hiding one of the greatest mythological wonders of mankind. So a big part of this movie is the mystery. From that, it gives you an idea of, supernatural hiding one of the greatest mythological wonders, and there's things that are binding him to his land, but I like to play into the mysterious aspect of it. And if you see and watch the teaser trailer, which is available on the To the Moon Filmworks YouTube channel, you can really see that that's kind of where we're going with this thing. Is I just want to lead you on a little bit of where the direction of the film is going without giving really too much away at all. And so, yes, I was very excited to release the teaser. Even more excited to get a trailer out soon. But, it's just, it's definitely a big change for me as a filmmaker. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so that's it brings up an interesting question because, Teepee Man and Flusher, The Adventure of Teepee Man and Flusher was a really fun, but also had some deep, serious messages in it. Calling the Shots was kind of an action romance kind of thing, and now this one, like I said, it really gave me goosebumps as I was watching just the 90-second teaser. Where do your ideas come from? Do you just roll with stuff that pops in your head, or how do you develop the ideas for your films?
It's it really, a lot of just everyday life brings me a lot of inspiration. Scenes kind of come to me throughout multiple parts of the day. I might just walk in on a situation where I go, well, this would be interesting. Or, I might go to a gas station, the gas station clerk just does something interesting enough. I'm like, I should remember that for a character.
Okay.
But if there's something that is intriguing enough and has enough detail and depth, that's when I start to almost obsess about it. And that's when things can start developing into full-fledged ideas and not just a moment or a scene or a feeling. But I would say throughout my entire day, I'm constantly collecting ideas and like little pieces of inspiration kind of come in waves, come through the air. A lot of it also, I would say, comes in my dreams. Like I'll wake up and I'll be like, I got to remember that huge monologue I just, heard in my dream, or, this whole situation that I saw play out. So a lot of it just kind of comes as inspiration because I feel like, again, with me saying in the beginning, filmmaking has always been a part of my life and something I've always felt I'm just destined to do, that naturally that inspiration comes along with that.
Yeah. So, Griffin, and you mentioned it's been a part of your life ever since you can remember. You actually wrote and produced your first feature-length film when you were in middle school at SCVi. And I did want to ask you this, because I know it's been important to the development of your career as early as it did develop. The hallmark of SCVi and iLEAD's educational model is personalized learning and striving to offer a format that meets the needs of every student, whatever that may be. So we've got kids that are training for the Olympics that have different schedule issues and all different types of things. When you were in school, you really took advantage of several different formats that we offer as your career developed. You were in the classroom-based program for a while. You were in our hybrid program for a while. I think you were online for a while. How did that flexibility that SCVi and iLEAD Online offer help support you as you evolved as a filmmaker?
Well, I could never train for the Olympics. I'll tell you that much. They rejected me even when I said I was interested.
All right.
But no. So real quick, actually, my first horror type film was for my art project at SCVi.
Okay.
And Miss Kelly was my teacher, and the end of the year project was a stop motion clay, with clay movie about a killer hand. And so that's just one of the many examples of the ways I got to incorporate my filmmaking into my curriculum, and get a lot of incredible opportunity to work on my films, and use practice within filmmaking as, presentations. And so, it's just the opportunity that SCVi gave me within that was incredible to be able to incorporate that. But also, a big part of my early films, I would say my first two films, pretty solid. Most of my cast were fellow classmates and teachers.
Yeah.
And so just the support alone was astounding.
Yeah, and you were able to kind of staff your films with folks that were right there in class with you, whether they were your classmates or, like you said, your teachers. In fact, I think one of the artists that's appeared in several of your films you met while going to school at SCVi, and she's gone on to have a role in, I think, your last three films. Is that right?
Yes, yeah. She wasn't around for the first, but she showed up during the second. Ariel Gottsman, and so she was started in The Adventure of Teeth, Man, and Flusher and continued, and now she's the secondary lead in The Undistilled. It's pretty astounding. Why I say secondary? It's kind of an ensemble deal. She comes in the second half, but then it's she's got her own thing going. But so it's Ariel's been a partnership. Gosh, it was basically most of my time at SCVi.
Yeah. Wow, that's fantastic. And you mentioned The Undistilled. It is the fourth feature-length film by 19-year-old veteran filmmaker Griffin Locke, who joins me today. We're talking about The Undistilled, as well as some of the other projects that he's got going on. We're going to hear a little bit more about it. Griffin, I want to ask, when and where we're going to be able to see The Undistilled, and I want to talk about a couple of the other projects that you've got in the works. We do need to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Griffin Locke, filmmaker extraordinaire. I am Matt Wattson, and you are listening to SCVi and iLEADSchools' Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLEADSchools' Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Wattson, and I'm joined this morning by 19-year-old, believe it or not, 19-year-old veteran filmmaker Griffin Locke. He is the producer of Calling the Shots, The Adventure of Teepee Man and Flusher, A Spark in Nothing, and now The Undistilled. And if you're actually streaming or watching us on Facebook Live, producer Sarah's dropping in the links to Griffin's websites, griffinlocke.com, where that's kind of one-stop shopping for everything that Griffin's got. But he's also got the YouTube channel, To the Moon Filmworks, which Griffin, To the Moon is your film company, correct?
Yes, yeah. So it's my film company I started, and again, please, so many pieces of video and teasers and even some of the movies is available on the To the Moon Filmworks YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And so please, every like and subscribe and share and view helps us so much with getting our work out there and being seen by more people. So please, if you have the second, and if you find anything that I'm talking about here slightly intriguing, please just give us a subscribe, a view, or a like. We'd all really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get on it right after the show. Now, as amazing as it is that you're 19 years old and you're about to release your fourth and your fifth film, I find this next one, I actually got a text during the commercial break, Griff, and I find this one a little bit more amazing, that you're only 19 years old, and is this true? You've been to prison recently, not once, but twice? What's going on, dude?
Oh, yeah. I just got out.
Really?
So, yeah. Most recently, we'll work backwards in my prison visits.
Okay.
But my second time of being in prison.
Your second stint, okay.
Yeah, my second stint. It was down in Miraloma, near Lancaster, and I was helping a fellow actor, not a fellow actor, but an actor of The Undistilled, who's a fantastic actor. His name's Matt Wattson, on a film he's making right now. And I was lucky enough, he came and donated his time to our film, and he's incredible. He's been, most recently in the Aretha Franklin movie Respect, and he's been in NCIS and The Kitchen, and he's just a fantastic actor.
Uh-huh.
And anywho, so he's making his own film, and so I said, hey, anything I can do to help, please, if you just need an extra hand, I'll even go get coffees. And he said, we won't make you go get coffees, but, let me see what I can do. So eventually the day came around, and he called and said, hey, we'd love to have you on the film as camera assistant, and help out on this production. And so, got in the car, drove the 10 hours down to L.A., and we shot for basically my entire time down in L.A. at this prison. And what's crazy about it is half of it is still active.
Uh-huh.
And so, there's, guards going around. You see the, prison guys getting loaded up in the trucks and then brought out to, clean up the yard. And every day at 4 o'clock, the sirens would go off.
Uh-huh.
And, you'd hear, I think, a shooting range, something like that.
Uh-huh.
But hopefully, it's not something crazy going on.
Not a prison riot, yeah.
One of the, real quick, everything goes so fast on those productions. You're moving around, but this is a pretty good scale film, and with a lot of real professional gear. And so me coming from a pretty independent standpoint, I would take the times during lunch when everyone was, at the main production offices eating lunch. I'd kind of sneak away and go back on the set, and so I could walk around and look at how everything was set up,
Uh-huh.
And because, everything's moving so fast, I don't really get the opportunity. And so I'd go and see, okay, he has this tied here, and this cable ran over that way. This is where that goes. Oh, this light's doing this. Just, the educational stance of it.
Yeah.
And the first time I did that, I was in the building all by myself, which was an abandoned dining hall.
Right.
And I was looking at everything, and then all of a sudden, off in the distance, I hear that, what? And I'm like, okay, maybe I should go back to everyone else. As I was strolling across the yard, the gunfiring started, and so I was like, okay, this is happening now. It happened every time, every day at, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And, so that was my first time in prison.
Okay.
And then my first time in prison was for an every 15 minutes video that I was shooting for one of the local high schools up here in Humboldt County.
Uh-huh.
Actually, Ferndale High School, just to try to help raise some more money before we started filming my most recent film, The Undistilled.
Uh-huh.
And so, every 15 minutes is insane. It is crazy. Basically, it's a PSA for high schools about drunk driving. It's every 15 minutes someone will die, from driving under the influence. So it's insane because they put on these big presentations to where the Grim Reaper walks around and they have a staged car accident and, the ambulances come and load up the kids and then the coroner shows up and takes one kid away. And so it's a huge presentation. I think it's the closest thing high schools are allowed to do to Scared Straight. You remember that show?
I do.
Like just how insane that thing was?
Yeah.
This is like, high schools asked, well, can we send kids to prison? They were like, no. And they were like, okay, well, we'll do every 15 minutes, So,
well, but it is to get the awareness out there at the age where kids start driving. Yeah.
Definitely. It's, but it's just an insane presentation. And so anyway, I was, I don't think it's as crazy for everyone else because they don't have to film the whole thing, but I had to tag along and film the whole thing. And so basically I need to film the setup of the party, to where the kids have a big party, and then the car accident, and then the big presentation at the high school with the setup car crash. And then after that, I had to follow one kid that was the quote-unquote driver to the prison, and I had to follow the other, the kids that basically died in the car crash to the coroner's office. Wow. And so pretty intense stuff. So anyway, so my second time, first time going to prison was filming that, following the kid to the prison. But what's funny is filming in the actual prison. In the main holding room, some pieces of glass are shattered from people smacking their heads and stuff. Wasn't even the most scarring part of that entire process. That would have scared me a lot more if I didn't have to film the morgue section of the film. And again, this video is available on my To the Moon Filmworks YouTube channel.
Okay.
And so essentially, following these two kids, first off, they said, okay, well, we got to go to the coroner's office. We're going to film the morgue section. Really heartbreaking stuff to where, they call the mom in and she has to identify the body. And so it's really it's driving this point home. The high school kids don't see this until the movie comes out, so I think it was even more impactful for me because I was there. I was seeing this happen. And so, naturally, the filmmaker part comes out in me. We walk into this morgue. And first of all, it doesn't look anything like the movies. It's not just a tile room with a tray in the middle and a light. It's the shelves of the tubes and the everything for the autopsies. And then there it is, boom, in the center of the room, the big metal freezer doors. And this story gets, I'm not going to get graphic with it, but if you are queasy, just maybe turn it down a little bit here.
Okay.
So anyway, so the filmmaker side of me goes, to end this scene, to end this part of the film, I need to get a shot of you putting, the body into the freezers and closing the doors. And the guy goes, okay, yeah, we could do that. I just got to make some space in there real quick.
Oh,
I go, what? Space. All right. And he goes, yeah, we're pretty stocked right now. We got about 15 guys in there.
Pretty stocked.
And so he goes over to the chart, and he's like, yeah, these are the unidentified ones. These are the ones we found. And these are the ones we have the names for. And I'm like, wow, that is a name from 1 year ago. They still have someone in there from a year ago. Well, now, if it's still there, 2 years. And so anyway, so I say, we got to get the shot. Suck it up.
Right? Get the shot.
And so they say, all right, put this under your nose. Vicks Vapor Rub. They say, but, actually what we use is just regular vanilla extract.
All right.
And so then he's like, oh, you should try that too. So now I got a Vicks Vapor Rub / vanilla extract mixture under my nose. And that's already, that makes you a little queasy just right off the bat.
Sure, it's vanilla mentholatum.
They open up the door, and the steam comes out. And lo and behold, the 15 bodies laying in there. And, it's astounding because something inside you as a human being immediately can tell that is not a living, person anymore. But what's so strange is it's the shape of the person. You see the indents, and you see the curves, and it's like, that's a person under that sheet. But you just immediately can tell that there's nothing left in that shell, and it's just so strange to have that realization on that big of a scale. And so anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go in. I'm going to get the shot. I'm going to stand in there first because it's unfair to just make the kid go in there. He's freaking out already, And so I go in first, and I'm standing in there with the camera, and I'm like, just don't look down. Just don't look down. Just look to the camera. So I'm facing towards the doors. But I do. I look to my side, and I would say about 5 inches from my waist, I see at the end of the table, the rise of feet goes up, sees the rise of someone's stomach under the sheet, and then right at the top of the head, you see the nose, and then the top of the head just goes flat. And I go, ooh, that's not right. What's going on, with this guy over here? And basically they're like, he's been in here so long, we can't really keep the top of his skull on anymore.
Oh.
All right, you ready to film?
Right, you keep that on the hat rack?
Yeah, all right, yeah, let's get the shot. And he's like, okay, closing the door, closes the door, shuts off the light, pitch blackness in there, and doesn't help that earlier the actual guy that does the autopsies there, probably the most stereotypical autopsy guy you could think of, a short old man that's balding with dark around his eyes and big wire glasses, said, oh, you don't have to be afraid when you're in the freezer. I promise you there's nothing living. And I'm
right.
And so anyway, so I'm standing there in darkness, probably was 10 seconds, but it felt like 2 years. And then he turns on the light, opens the door, pushes the kid in, doesn't push the kid in far enough. And so I'm like, we got to do it again. It's not right. It's not right. He's like, really? I was like, you need to push the kid all the way up, almost all the way
shove him in.
And I was like, yeah, exactly. And he was like, okay, out again, door closed, lights off. I'm like, why do I do this to myself? And I'm waiting there, turns on the light, opens the door, pushes the kid in, closes the door again, shuts off the light. And it's just that silence, the dead silence of just nothing, And then anyway, turns the lights on, pulls the kid out. And it's, I kind of fled that location the quickest I think I've ever left a location.
Yeah, I bet.
And it did not help that they offered me a Coca-Cola from the actual autopsy refrigerator. Half of it's for guests and half of it's for sodas.
Yeah. Oh.
So, it's nice to know when you pass away, a majority of you is resting next to the Pepsi product.
Right.
So anyway.
Exactly. We got Coke, Diet Coke, and Jimmy's Spleen. Oh, man. Griffin, you're an incredible storyteller. I understand where your talent comes from. I'm looking at your YouTube video, or your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I actually just hit subscribe while you were talking, although I don't know why. This kind of creepiness is not for me, but your films are a lot more than that. You do have the every 15 minutes film here on your YouTube channel. Again, it's youtube.com/@ToTheMoonFilmworks, To the Moon Filmworks on YouTube. And I see a couple of your previous movies here. It looks like you've got some behind the scenes stuff going on here. You've got all kinds of stuff on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, we have the whole behind-the-scenes filming process of The Undistilled. So, hopefully you anxiously await the release of The Undistilled. You can take that time and spend it watching the exclusive behind-the-scenes series, to where basically it just followed us through the whole process of filming the movie. And so you can see all that, all the locations, everything that went into making a completely independent film.
Very cool. And it has been a couple of years since your last feature-length film has come out. So when can we see The Undistilled? When's it coming out?
That is a fantastic question. So it is in post.
All right.
So it is, it's headed that direction. We're looking to, release it hopefully in around November. It's really just the finalizing process that's really holding on here. But it's our big plans with this movie is to actually take it on tour, like a rock band would take their concert on tour.
Okay.
And so essentially, we're going to take this movie up the coast. I think we'll probably start somewhere down in San Diego and work our way up. And so there'll be a lot of screening opportunities, theaters, outdoors, exclusive events, Q&As with the actors. And so we're going to definitely try to keep building some buzz off this thing and just take it around as much as we possibly can.
Very cool. So we'll look for it in the fall, The Undistilled. In the meantime, yeah, like Griffin said, head on over to YouTube. Check out To the Moon Filmworks is the YouTube channel. You can see the dailies. You can see the behind-the-scenes kind of stuff. You can see a couple of his other previous films, A Spark in Nothing. You can see the Every 15 Minutes film that he did for Ferndale High School. And Griffin, you're in college, you're making films, but you're not busy enough. You've got other stuff going on. What's this other project that I hear that's really taken off?
Yeah, so it's, kind of what started as my side business, but now it's starting to kind of take a life of its own. Yes, it's called Griffin Lock's Screamatorium Haunted House.
All right.
And, I've always had a love, for filmmaking, but along with that, I have always loved the monsters. My favorite action figures were the Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, the werewolf,
All right.
There's just all these. I love that stuff, a monster child, essentially. And so it's Griffin Lock Screamatorium. I started it in our garage down in Santa Clarita, and when we moved up here to Humboldt County, there really was nothing happening at all. And my parents were so destined, because I was pretty sad, I was like, well, I can't do my garage haunt anymore. But they knew how much Halloween meant to me. They said, let's take the Screamatorium and let's do it a bit more professionally. Let's get a building. And so we actually rented my uncle's building that he had on Main Street and had our first Screamatorium haunted house, opened it to the public, and, started it kind of just building as a business. The next year, we moved to even a bigger building, and we were able to do more of a haunted house. And so that really caught on. The Humboldt County community loves it. And, that's super exciting because now we get to offer the magic of Halloween, and get to work on a haunted house for 2 months. Like, come on, who wouldn't want to do that?
Right.
And so now, actually, we are opening for 1 week in the summer at the Nevada County Fair. And so it's in Grass Valley. And it's near, so that's very close to Sacramento. And so, if you want to go to a fun outdoor haunted house, an incredible fair, must I say. Like, we are so honored to be able to be a part of this because it's huge. But, pack up yourself, your partner, the kids, and take a trip up to Grass Valley and see us in action at the Nevada County State Fair this summer. And, we'll be open the Screamatorium Haunted House as a little fair haunt. And so, I actually have taken, just stepped away from, I've been sculpting a crying baby face.
Oh.
And, an evil pumpkin with vines curling down. So anyway, it's lovely. I love being able to work on haunted house stuff even during the summers.
That is awesome. Now, Griffin, you talked a little bit about your little sister. Do your parents ever make you put your little sister in your movies? Because, my mom, she always makes me give the last segment of my radio show to my stupid big brother because I'm not allowed to have nice things of my own, right? Are your parents like that?
Right,
Yeah.
Well, as much as I love my little sister and how much light she brings into my life and how fast, I honestly think she's like the most fascinating person I've ever met in my entire life. I think I've killed her many a times in my movies. Not because I dislike her, just because she gives the best scream.
Oh, nice.
You can't beat that. It just works when you're working with, your siblings as actors. You gotta use the one with the best scream. Unfortunately, I only have one sister, but she gave the best scream.
Well, fortunately, I only have one brother, and he's got some trivia questions and things like that. And if you can stick around and play with us, we'll see how Big T can scream. Does that work? You want to play with us a little bit?
Yes, definitely.
All right, fantastic. Stick around for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. This is SCVi and iLEADSchools' Eye on the Valley. I'm Matt Wattson. He's Griffin Lock, and this is your hometown station, KHTS. Welcome back. You're listening to KHTS, your hometown station, 98.1 FM and 1220 AM. This is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley. I am your host, Matt Wattson. But now, it is time for Big T's 5 Minutes of Fame. Y'all know Big T. Big T is a longtime resident and leader here in the Santa Clarita Valley. He's an executive and philanthropist. He's an amazing father, husband, and community leader. And if Griffin Locke made a movie about Big T's life, it would be a 3.5-minute slapstick comedy. Here he is, everybody. He's Mom's favorite. Big T, welcome to the show.
I'm going to get right into it, Matty, or you want to set it up?
Well, Big T, Griffin, if you heard, he did decide to stick around with us. So Griffin's going to be playing along with us. Let's go ahead and set it up, but let me remind Griffin. So this is kind of like Jeopardy. Big T's got some trivia questions for us. And if you know the answer, don't shout the answer. Hit your buzzer. Your buzzer is your name. So just call out your name, and then he'll call on you, and we'll go with that. Engineer Andrew's going to play along with us, and let's do this, T.
Cool. Hey, quick fun fact. So the Major League Baseball All-Star Game was at Dodger Stadium last year, and it was quite the celebration on the field, but apparently it was quite the celebration off the field as well. Matt, do you know that in the last 2 weeks, exactly 9 months after the All-Star Game, 5 current or former Dodgers have taken paternity leave? Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, Evan Phillips, Brusdar Graterol, and Cody Bellinger. Hey-o.
It was a great All-Star weekend.
It sure was. All right, let's get into some trivia.
Watch out now.
We're going to do some movie trivia first, of course, in honor of Griffin. So what was the name of the high school in Greece?
Andrew.
Oh.
Andrew.
That would be Rydell High.
Rydell High is correct.
Nice.
In Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, what keeps the three-headed dog asleep?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Warm milk.
Incorrect.
No, that works for me.
Andrew, was it fire?
Andrew. Incorrect. Griffin, you got anything?
Ooh. Melatonin.
Actually, music.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of dogs, what is Jack Skelton's dog's name?
Oh.
Andrew.
Oh, Griffin.
Andrew?
Was it Zero?
It is Zero. That is correct.
Nice.
In what movie does Robert De Niro say, "You talking to me"?
Griffin.
And then Andrew.
Griffin.
Taxi driver.
There we go.
Taxi driver is correct. Nice
Did you
call.
know that scene was... No, it wasn't that one. Never mind. Move on.
What famous LA landmark is heavily featured in Rebel Without a Cause?
Frogger.
Andrew.
Griffin.
I heard Frogger, then Andrew, then Griffin.
I think it's Griffith Observatory.
That is the Griffin Observatory. That is correct. For what movie did Tom Hanks score his first Academy Award nomination?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Was it Rain Man?
Incorrect.
Andrew. Was it
Andrew.
Philadelphia?
Incorrect. It was
He said
actually
Tom
big.
Hanks, didn't
Yeah, he did.
he? He said Tom Hanks.
Whoa.
Tom Hanks. Those two Toms confuse me.
Yep. What's the name of the skyscraper in Die Hard?
Frogger.
Oh.
Frogger.
Nakatomi Plaza.
That is correct.
Not a Christmas movie.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or an action movie?
Action movie.
Action.
Andrew says action. That is correct.
Yes, we're giving him the point.
You didn't say his name.
It is unanimous, yes.
Yes. What flavor Pop-Tarts does Buddy the Elf use in his spaghetti in the movie Elf?
Griffin.
Griffin.
Blueberry? Question mark?
Incorrect.
Thank you for punctuating, though.
Andrew.
Strawberry?
Incorrect. Frogger, you got anything?
I'm going with cinnamon.
It would be chocolate.
No.
Last movie question. What's the name of the anthemic dance at the beginning of Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Andrew.
Oh, Frogger.
Andrew.
The Time Warp.
Time Warp's correct. What hostess treat also could indicate that there's a visitor at your front door?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Ding dong.
Ding dong. What 4-letter word denotes a central, rectangular area at a high school or college?
Oh, Andrew. The quad.
Oh,
The quad, correct.
there we go. I'm like, what?
What large labor union also includes chauffeurs and warehousemen?
Frogger.
Includes truck drivers as well, Frogger, go
Yeah,
ahead.
the Teamsters.
Teamsters, that is correct. What did Nelson Mandela fight and successfully defeat?
Frogger.
Frogger.
Apartheid.
Apartheid's correct.
And Francois Botha.
One of the most viewed videos of all time, Despacito, was filmed on what island?
Frogger.
Just one of the two.
Frogger.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico's correct. What's the name of the character that spends the time trying to catch and eat the Roadrunner?
Andrew. Wile E. Coyote.
That is correct.
Hey, Griffin, I know you're on a satellite phone. Did you drop out, buddy?
I did for a while, and also the delay is so hard.
Yeah, that's producer Sarah was wondering about the delay. Unfortunately, Griffin, we've only got time for one more. Andrew and I are tied at 6, so we're going to make this next one worth 5 points.
Okay, well, I feel like I've been killing it.
Yeah.
All right. What's the name of the underwater city where SpongeBob SquarePants lives?
Oh, Griffin!
Griffin.
Bikini Bottom.
Bikini Bottom is correct. We got a three-way tie.
Check it out. And this is something that I don't think you've ever been told before, but Griffin, with your Bikini Bottom, you tied the score.
Actually, yeah, I think that's about the 5th time I've been told that.
All right.
Alrighty, well, with a score of 6-6, it is a 3-way tie. Big T, we do have to wrap it up. I want to thank you for swinging by. We also want to thank our guests, Angie Nastovska, Allison Bravo with iLEAD Agua Dulce High School, 19-year-old producer and filmmaker Griffin Locke, producer Sarah, engineer Andrew, Big T, and hey, thank you for listening. Remember, life is hard, but we're all here to help each other along. Be well and do good. Join us again next week and every Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. I am Matt Wattson, and this is SCVi and iLEADSchools Eye on the Valley on your hometown station, KHTS.